Thank you everyone first for taking time to be here, and welcome to the launching of Losing Sight Charity. Our first speaker for today will be Brian Anderson, who will be speaking about sight loss experience. Brian Anderson is a facilitator for confidence building courses which take him all over the southeast of the country for Royal National Institute of Blind People. Prior to this, Brian spent most of his working life with education provisions for visually impaired children and young people. Can we please welcome Brian Anderson?
This is where you find out that I can juggle a lot. I've got notes here and this, and if I need to use a magnifier as well, it really gets tricky. Oh, thank you, that's great. Probably still won't see it down there, but I'll do my best. When David asked me to do this, I was actually away on holiday in Devon, and I struggled really thinking about how to start today. And then that was made so easy for me when I got here, because there's straw bales outside the door, and I thought I could start it by making some clever comment about cowboys in Portsmouth. But then I thought, yeah, we won't do that. So what else can I do? And I thought, well, go back and just think about the things that have happened over the years. And I have to tell you a little story that last week I was in Devon on holiday, and I was having a fantastic time, and that's when the call came from Dave, and he said, would I mind coming and doing a little bit about my own experience of living with sight loss and about the work I've done over the past few years. And I said, well, yeah, I will do. And at the time, I was feeling really good. I was on holiday, I was having a great time at my brother-in-law's house. He's got a lovely house. We were enjoying his garden, we were feeding his sheep, we were sailing his boats and things. And then I hurt my back. And I thought, goodness me, this is awful. I started to feel really bad. Now, I've just explained to Terry this morning, I've got this thing called nystagmus. And when I've got pain, my eyes wobble more. And it's crazy, it's a neurological thing. And it became really difficult to see things. And I thought, what would I advise people who come on my courses at times like this? Because I really do feel sorry for myself. And then I remember, and if any of you have been on one of the longer courses, you'll know about this thing called hippo time. Hippo time is great. If you think about the hippos that have been out and about doing hippo things all day, and they're tired, and they want a bit of a rest, and they want to get away from the nasty, aggressive hippos. So what do? They go off to a nice muddy, warm pool, and they sink themselves into this muddy, warm, comfortable place, and they put their nostrils above the water, they close their eyes, and they just wallow. And just for a little while, with my back, I decided to go and wallow. And I wallowed for a little while, and pottering about in the house. And an odd thing happened. I went and Ian, my brother-in-law, said, why don't you go and pick some gooseberries? Because it's a really easy thing to do. You don't have to bend, the bushes are quite high and things. And I was picking the gooseberries and thinking and wallowing, and I wallowed back to when I was a child. Because I used to pick gooseberries at my grandfather's allotment up in the northeast. And I remember, and I'm thinking about my grandfather. He probably never realised that this little boy who was picking gooseberries, his eldest grandchild, I wonder if he ever thought, why on earth does he keep pricking his hand? Why on earth is he the one who comes out of the bushes with loads of scratches? Why is he the one who only picks the big gooseberries that are near the front? Because I don't think it ever occurred to him that I couldn't see. And it got me thinking about how life's changed for visually impaired people. Even in my short lifetime, I'm not very old, and I won't go back all the way to my childhood, otherwise you will be here all day. But it also set me thinking about sort of looking back at things, and I was starting to feel my age as well. And I've got other things going on at the moment. I've got some big decisions to make and other things to do. So, you know, it's a change time for me now. So in my hippo time, I sort of reflected, and during my childhood, it was a long time ago. I won't go all the way back because we wouldn't really be here all the time. But I remembered a social worker. Now this social worker was called Mr. Stringer, and he was actually my social worker for about 7 years. And I knew him, he knew me, he knew my parents, he knew my grandparents. He was an expert in visual impairment. He didn't do anything else. He wasn't a multi-sensory specialist. He wasn't a generic social worker who was just doing an attachment to working with blind people. He was a specialist, and when things needed to be done, like you needed your long cane training or you needed some advice on mobility in the house, he was there. And he was a great man, and I had a fantastic amount of respect for him. And while I was pondering, I also thought about some of the other things that made a difference to him. And he actually knew about people, and he cared about people. And I thought then about the attitude of other people at the time when I was a child. And I think there was a respect. It was a general respect, but there was also a respect for people who were visually impaired. We were still in the times after the Second World War, we still had blind veterans from both World Wars. And those people got a lot of respect. My bank manager was a blind guy at my Yorkshire Penny Bank from school. The manager of the bank that managed that was a blind guy. There was another blind lady who lived at the end of our street, and she was the one who did the knitting for people and darning. She did repairs for people. She got a lot of respect. And generally, I think in society there was this, what I'd like to think of as some sort of reverent respect, or reverent fear rather, of blindness. People thought it was a life where you're condemned to living in darkness, and where things are restricted for you. And they respected that, and they helped you, and they wanted to help you, and they wanted to spend time. My family were close by, with nuclear families in those days. They weren't very far away. So I had grandparents down the road, I had aunties and uncles all around, and they all knew that I couldn't see. And I was just a little boy in the town who couldn't see. So when I went out to play, people would look out for me. No, different world. I also then thought about the medical services at the time. I knew my GP, Mr. McGovern. Dr. McGovern, sorry, and I knew my consultant ophthalmologist, a guy called Mr. McClure, and he again was my consultant ophthalmologist for years and years and years, and what a fantastic man he was. When I needed treatment, I got treatment. When we needed to talk to them, we got time. They had time to spend with us, time to actually get to the bottom of the problems. And when I needed treatment, I was given treatment. There was no great long waiting list. I seem to remember it was a very short time between seeing him and having the operations done. And it was just one of those things, it just happened. And it was, we still have rickets and things at the time, but you balance things out. Education, when I needed education, my needs were assessed properly and thoroughly by education psychologists, by teachers. I was then given educational provision. I went to a special school. There were lots of special schools. There were choices of special schools for me to go to. When I got to the special school, every teacher in that school was a specialist in visual impairment. There was no question about the resources I needed or the equipment I needed. It was just there, it was provided. And then when I left school, went into employment, there was no expectation that I wouldn't work. It was just, you're out into the work market, go for it. But had I not been capable and able to do that, there was still, in the late 60s, there were still 66 schools for the blind in operation. And these were no longer schools, they were there by then, they were workshops that trained people properly in skills like touch typing, light engineering, telephony, that sort of thing. There were specialist colleges for physiotherapists, piano tuners. There were, people were just, jobs were open to us, and it was great. So there were opportunities existed. And then I thought I'd compare that with now. And you look at now, families. My own family is widely spread. My nearest relative is 300 miles away. My son lives and works in Greece at the moment. I have no other family widely spread. Other people in the same way, the nuclear family that I talked about doesn't exist anymore. We don't have those support networks. And stuff happens in families. Families break up, things happen. And it's just a circumstance of the times. A social worker, well, when did you last see a social worker? It seems to be a stigma now, having a social worker. It wasn't a stigma when I was a child. We respected them. We thought we valued the things that they did. Medical. Well, I spent a bit of time in QA a while ago, and the waiting times and things were phenomenal. People were coming and saying, well, I don't know who I'm seeing today. I've just been sent an appointment, but my consultant's not here. They're under absolutely terrible constraints. You know, you go to your GP, they've got 5 minutes. Can you imagine taking a visually impaired child along and asking for advice from your GP in a 5-minute interview? It doesn't work for me. And education. The number of times I hear about children whose needs are not being met, who have records of need, whose needs are not being met locally because the resources aren't there. There are not enough qualified teachers of the visually impaired. There are not enough services to go around and help and support visually impaired people. And you know, you do wonder. Anyway, that was my hippo time. That was my reflecting. And I reflected too on the fact that when we do go for work, 80% of visually impaired people are unemployed. If you're totally blind, that rises to 90% are totally without work. There are low expectations of us these days. People seem to think, well, if you're blind, well, you just can't do that. So you know, just go and claim your benefits and get on with it. And then, you know, we've got limited opportunities. And we say what you like about modern technology and the smartphones and talking computers and things. If they don't fit with the company's systems, you're on a loser right from the start. If you can't prove yourself, you're on a bit of a loser. Negative things. And society's attitude. Well, you know, I'm a busy person, and I'm sure you're all busy people. And I think everybody out in the world these days is busy. There are so many demands on time and on things to do. You know, people put their own needs first, and I can understand it. You know, it's a different world we live in now. Quite often people assume that the state will take care of us, people with visual impairment. Oh, that's right, the state will look after them. The council will see to that. You know, well, what? And then there are some perceptions of visually impaired people as well. You know, the media portray this wonderful picture of Paralympians and these high achievers in the world of visual impairment. These people who go out and do fantastic things, row the Atlantic, climb a mountain, run their own businesses and all that sort of thing. They're a tiny minority. Most of us are just very ordinary people. And that was my hippo time. I got to the bottom of it, and I only told you one thing about hippo time. I told you that hippo time is a great place to get yourself comfortable when things are getting you down. The second fact about hippo time is it only works if you don't stay there. You can stay there for a while, but then you've got to pull your socks up and you've got to do something about it. And my way out of hippo time was saying, well, what do we do now? What do I do? And I finished picking the berries and ate quite a few of them. But what I think we need to do as a community of blind and partially sighted people is I think we need to support each other. We need to work together for our own needs. You know, there are huge numbers. We say there are 1 million visually impaired people in this country, or 1 million people who are experiencing significant sight loss. Even if every single one of us was on benefits, that is still a huge amount of economic power that we've got. The other thing about us is that most of us are over the age of 18, which gives us the vote. And if we use our votes carefully, we could sway things. You know, you think about some of the local elections where things were very close. If there'd been an issue affecting visually impaired people and they got together and voted, that might have made a difference to who got in and who took power at that point. Speak out. Don't put up with things the way they are. It's not necessary. And value the support which is available. So value your local roadies. Tell them that you value them. Tell them that you enjoy the services that they provide. Go to your eye clinic and speak to the people there and say how much you appreciate the services that they provide for you. And, you know, all the consultants and things, when you come out of their office, don't forget to say thank you to them, because so many people don't bother. So if it's not good enough, speak out. And that's partly what I was thinking when I was thinking about what to say about this Losing My Sight magazine and project. Losing My Sight magazine and the project and the events, we've just watched a video there of the sailing and the water sports event last week. It provides a forum for visually impaired people. It provides a place where you can come together, blind and partially sighted people can come together for the events, they can come together through the pages of the magazine. You can provide mutual support for one another. Because I know that, I was saying about I was introduced as having done the Living with Sight Loss courses. I've done more than 100 of them. Visually impaired people on those courses teach me something every single time I go along. If we share with other visually impaired people, we will learn from them, and I don't doubt that for 1 minute. There is information through the pages of the magazine, through the blogs, through the website and things. Information for us is very often power. We find out what's going on, we find out what's available, we find out who's got a problem, and we can respond to it, and we can help them, and we can share with them. So you share your ideas, you learn from other people, share your experiences. On the video of people canoeing, everybody, if you pardon the pun, everybody was actually in the same boat. You know, you had sighted guides and people like that, but everybody who went along to experience that day had a visual impairment. You're not competing with other people in an unfair environment. You're with other visually impaired people, and please, that's a great way to relax. So, in conclusion, I was going to start off by saying it's brilliant being blind. It isn't brilliant being blind, and anybody who's been to some of my courses will know since I've started like that, it's not brilliant. But in fact, if you take control of your visual impairment, accept it for being the part of you at this point in your life, and take control of it, say, it's my visual impairment, here I am, I'm visually impaired, let's get on with life and make the most of it. Share the journey with other people. Share the journey with other people who are experiencing sight loss. Become a common community of people with sight loss through the pages of the magazine, through the activities. You have common problems and common concerns. You have shared interests. You have a powerful voice. Use it. Use your voice. It's not brilliant being blind, but it's actually not the end of the world. And it's not. It is actually not bad. So, definitely concluding now. He did give me 10 minutes, but that was... yeah, sorry, I'm up. I'd just like to say very much thank you to David for all the hard work that's gone into this. If you'd met David when I did in April 2015, you would have seen a very different person. He's actually done something about his visual impairment. He's taken control of it, and he's done something to make a difference, not just for himself, but for so many other visually impaired people. So good luck to everyone involved in the launch of the magazine, and I just wish you a very successful future. Value it, enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. It's very enlightening to hear Brian's story and to understand the life he goes through in sight loss experience. Thank you, Brian, for sharing that with us. The next speaker is Matt Loosley. Matt is a disability coordinator for Pompey Community. Their disability program has engaged around 400 disabled children and adults over the last 8 months. They currently work within special schools across Hampshire. They run 7 disability-specific teams in Hampshire, which compete regionally and nationally. Pompey in the community aim to provide every disabled individual with a chance to try some form of activity to develop themselves. In terms of his working experience with visually impaired and blind individuals, he also worked at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club in Brighton and Hove Albion, delivering their blind centres of excellence, football teams, as well as providing blind successions within community centres, charities and school. Their aim in the near future is to provide physical activity for 6 blind individuals. This is not just football, but other sports, so they can encourage growth in confidence and self-esteem. They also network to signposts to other clubs and organizations. So let's give Matt a warm welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are we? Are we okay? I think you've basically explained my whole role. That was my whole speech, so I'll basically just explain what Pompey Community do. So Pompey Community are the charitable organisation behind the Portsmouth Football Club. My role is to engage with many disabled young adults, children, as much as possible, okay? So that includes everyone. So we're looking to expand our visually impaired and blind activities as much as possible. So whether it be just simple activities like blind football or vision impaired football or any sort of activities, and that's really where you come in. if we can get any feedback with what sort of activities you would like, and working with organisations as yourself to provide opportunities for you, okay? In terms of where I first started, I was inspired to do my job, and I was looking to be a PE teacher, a sports coach, but I was really inspired from the start through working with Tottenham Hotspur in their blind football. I was working with 6, 7-year-olds that had lost their vision and didn't know really what to do themselves. And I was inspired by seeing their attitude, their can-do attitude. They were bumping into walls every so often. They just got up and they dealt with it, and that really inspired me to be where I am today, to go through where I am today and be where I am because of them children. And all I did was volunteer, and that's another route as well we can take. We not just help you physically, but we could also help you volunteer, job opportunities, anything like that. We are there for you. We're there to support you, okay? Has anyone got any questions? I'm really short and sweet. That's how I keep it. Has anyone got any questions?
Yeah, how do you do that?
How do I do what, sorry?
Keep it short and sweet.
How do I keep it short and sweet? I'm a sports coach, that's how I like it. Has anyone got any questions? Yes.
So has Portsmouth got a blind football?
We are looking to provide a blind and visually impaired football, and that's where we'd love to get your feedback. So I'll leave a few leaflets by the front door, and if you can get contact with me, that would be fantastic.
What type of jobs do you provide?
So we're looking for volunteers. We're also doing like a buddy scheme. So we have like a cycling project where it's lots of different bikes, like tandems. We have a lot of visually impaired and blind people actually do the cycling project, and we can work with like buddies. So what you can do is support a younger individual who maybe has loss of sight or vision impairment, and you can work with them. So that's a good opportunity there. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
What kind of age would you go up to? Are you just looking at...
So at the minute, we have our youngest is 4 years old, and our oldest is 99. So if you can hit between there, if you can get older than that, fair enough. Any other questions? Yes.
Do you have open days for visually impaired people to try these sports out?
That's what we can look at. Hopefully, if we can work in more partnership, we provide taster sessions. So we provide taster lots of different sports and see what you like, and just be more physically active, basically.
So me and Dave, we play visually impaired cricket.
Oh, fantastic!
Hampshire and Sussex.
Fantastic.
So we could, Hampshire, we could do something.
Well,
like that.
and to be honest, we're desperate to find players, but we don't seem to be able to get it out there to look for the players.
Is that where Hampshire Cricket is it? Because
Yeah.
actually we've recently just started a partnership with Hampshire Cricket.
Oh, good.
That's maybe I can speak to you and give you a leaflet, and we can go from there. Fantastic.
It's just getting the word out to people.
Exactly, networking.
And a lot of people don't understand how to play, so they automatically think it's not for them. People don't understand how to play.
Any other questions?
I've got a sentence at my house at the moment. Is there anyone who would...
Yeah, of course.
Or even, it is one that's the open site, so, anyone could, take it.
Yeah. So we have over 20 volunteers working on our Wall project. So that's something that we can definitely help you out with. If I put you in contact, we can definitely go from there. So really it's about networking and providing services, and what I found within my role is being flexible around the individuals. So everyone's an individual, everyone has their own needs, and being flexible as possible really gets us where we want to be. I hope that answers your questions. Sorry, Sean, for you. Is it? No, so we work within Hampshire as well. Yeah, so we can definitely check that. Any other questions before I go? Sorry, right.
Do you do sound tennis?
Do you do sound tennis? No, it's something we can definitely look into.
Because in East Sussex it's very popular, and I'm just wondering along the coast whether it could develop it.
And this is why we're working with you, working with this fantastic organisation. We can look to do that. Thank you for that. Last one. Yes, definitely. Obviously through your feedback, we'd like to get as much funding as possible to provide more opportunities for visually impaired and blind individuals. So it's definitely the right time. Fantastic. I'd like to thank Dave for inviting me. And fantastic, it's fantastic to see what you're doing, but thank you very much for having me.
Well, that's a remarkable work. It takes so much courage and commitment with yourself into doing something special for people who needed help. So thank you very much. The last speaker for today, of course, will be David, who's the chairman for the Losing My Sight magazine and charity. Just to explain who's David, David Taylor was registered severely sighted in 2014. In the beginning, Dave found this hard to deal with and suffered with depression. I was just speaking to Alan Knight earlier on because he hasn't got, he didn't realize David, prior to being diagnosed, he was a security, and that was his full-time job. So there you go, you learn something every day from David, isn't it? Now, basically, thanks to Action for Blind People, Dave got his confidence back and became a volunteer, and then campaigns coordinator for Royal National Institute of Blind People until July 2017. In March 2016, Dave started Losing My Sight magazine for the visually impaired and blind community in Portsmouth. The magazine covers various subjects from politics to sports. The magazine also covers all Portsmouth Football Club, home games last season and hopes to continue into this seasons as well. The magazine has readers all across the UK and as far as Australia and India. I'm actually surprised Philippines is not on your lists. On the magazine's first anniversary, Dave decided that he must try and do more for the visually impaired blind community here in Portsmouth, and this is when Losing Sight Charity began to take shape. So please welcome Dave.
Everybody in this room knows somebody who has been diagnosed with sight loss, and it's not an uncommon thing nowadays. Now, I found there's nothing to do in Portsmouth for the working age vision impaired and blind people. So in March, I started Losing My Sight Charity, and I had help from Action Portsmouth to complete an application form for the National Lottery, and we were awarded £9,640. And this is to carry out several projects throughout the 12 months of the funding. We aim to bring many working age visually impaired and blind people in Portsmouth and the surrounding areas together, because there are a lot of people at the moment that are probably at home and, as Brian said at the beginning, wallowing in self-pity, and they don't need to be, because there is life after sight loss, and I thank God that I am a testimony to that one. So getting the people to actually take part in activities is a difficult thing to do. So by doing the charity and getting the word out, people will start joining in on all our stuff that we do, and if once they start doing that, they can realise that there is a life. So our projects, we have a fit club here in the community centre every Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
We're going to be doing metal detecting. And that one was decided because the people who cannot see at all could use their hearing as their sight, and then they can try and find some treasures and whatever and donate it to charity. We've also done water sports last Thursday and Friday, which and they all end up going next year, but that's all depending on what funding we can get. The other, sorry, I lost my space now. We also do a photography club, which we have around about 8 or 9 people going to that one, and that is a challenge for the vision impaired and blind people to see through the camera and actually take an image. But as I always say, if you don't try it, you'll never know how good you are. and I'm still practicing. So we also do motivational and team building events as well, so that will be part of it. And then in May next year, we're organising a charity concert, and that's going to be held at the Wedgwood Rooms in Southsea. So we're going to be looking for bands, and I'm hoping to get a visually impaired and blind band together, because we've got a song already written and we just need to put the band together. So far I've got a blind drummer and a blind guitarist, so I'm working on that one at the moment. And then once we've got the song together, we're going to get the song produced, put onto iTunes, etc. And that will all help towards funding. So we aim to give back independence and confidence to those who think that life is over because of the sight loss. And as I just said, it definitely is not over, and I am a testament to that. And to say I'm also no longer in that place of depression, because I've now found a magazine and a charity that keeps me active and keeps me focused on what I'm doing and helping other people. So the magazine has a motto, and that's "Sight loss holds no barriers." And I think the people that belong to the group and all the projects actually realise that. So today we are here to launch Losing My Sight Charity and try to reach out to visually impaired and blind people in Portsmouth and surrounding areas. So before I finish, I would like to say that last week, like I said, we did done water sports, and we done a canoe race on a Friday, and that was brilliant fun. And if I could ask Alan Knight to come up and join me, please. And could I ask the winner of the canoe race, Eleanor Summers, to join us, please? Of the canoe race.
Thank you.
And I'm going to say standing up for and then we'll have a photograph of me. Could I also ask for the two people that were in the water the most, Matt and Caroline, could also pop up. Caroline, can you come to the front, please? For Caroline. When we were on the water, the instructor was saying to us who wants to join your boat. And I can truly say that nobody wanted to go in the same boat as them two. Always being dunked in the water. So, finally, I'd like to give a few thanks. One is to everybody here today for coming and supporting us. It is truly amazing the turnout I've got. And the charity and the magazine would not be here today if I didn't have the team of volunteers behind me. So I'd like to thank Dennis, Spencer, Andrew, David Daniels and David Wright. Make sure I haven't forgotten anybody. Did I say Andrew earlier? Yeah. And of course, I'd like to give a special thank you to the one person that kept me together through all of this, and that's my wife, Rose. Thank you very, very much. I do appreciate you coming out today. 1, 2, 3.
please partake some of those cakes as well.
And watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer as we go our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe. La luce che tu dai, nel cuore resterà. A ricavarci la terra stasera nella mia preghiera quanta lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, give us space so we'll be John, your amor, sento più violenza, un mondo di giustizia, di speranza, ognuno villa sia la cucina, simbolo di pace e di felicità. La luce che dai, e l'ora sia ognuno trovi amore in forma del It's all my grace, guide us with your grace, our space will be safe. Bella, bella, hai accesso a noi. Sento che ci salva.
Thank you very much. It's very good. Thank you so much. Well, it's now the time of the day, and we'll thank you everyone first for taking time to be here, and welcome to the launching of Losing Sight Charity.
When I am down and all my soul so weary, when trouble is gone and my heart burdened be, then I you come and sit a while with me? You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
And David, good luck with this venture. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.